Now, we're seeing more countries move towards restricting social media for younger users. Let's just start with what you think is actually driving this global shift right now.
I think there's a lot of different economic issues that are very present throughout the global economy. You have the war in Iran, got a lot of dysfunction when it comes to the energy markets. And something like social media bans for younger people just seem to be very popular. It's something that when you're not describing the technical details, sounds like a really good idea. There's a lot of politicians who are looking at the polls, seeing how popular this issue is. It's no mistake that every provincial leader has at least flirted with this in Canada. Global leaders really around the world have discussed this in some way. So I think it's just sort of an easy political move when there are many other things that are very difficult to tackle or to address. Everyone can kind of come around the very vague notion that we should have younger people probably spending a bit less time on social media. So I think it's just very easy at the moment to recommend that.
And the country that kind of started this ban movement, let's say, was Australia. So they introduced stricter online safety and age verification measures for younger users. What evidence so far shows that these policies are either working or not working? I mean, I've heard a lot of backlash about certain restrictions in Australia not working so well. So, what do you think made Canada and the UK and other countries actually choose to go forward with this ban?
Well, Australia was really just the first guinea pig. So this started on January 1st. And what you've had since then is 5 million accounts of teenagers deleted overnight. And yet somehow, I believe the latest figures are 61% of Australian teens who had social media accounts still have them. So it just shows that technically this stuff is very difficult to try to implement. And it's been about 160 days now that Australia has had its ban. The government has kind of gone back and forth. They have their own sort of social media privacy commissioner and czar who's had to communicate a lot on this. And no one's really satisfied thus far. There's a lot of loopholes. There are people who are using VPNs to route around many of these things. So we really haven't seen this sort of efficiency that we thought and that we were sold in Australia. And it's given many of the other countries perhaps some pause when it comes to framing and how they're discussing this. It is not something that is going to be technically feasible from day one. It will take a lot of time. And I think what Australia is proving right now is there's not really any smart way to do this. And I think socially, I will have to come to terms with the fact that it's probably not a good path either, especially if we want young people to be empowered and to figure out how to move around in the digital economy in the 21st century.
And how enforceable are these kinds of age-based bans in practice? I mean, for Canada to actually implement this, would it mean all social media users, including you and I, who are above the age of 16, would we also have to show our identification to prove that we are able to have social media, or how would that work?
So far, a lot of the laws put the onus and the requirements on the various social media platforms that they need to verify a user's age or ID. So it's really upon them. There are some technical solutions that have been required in places like the UK in their legislation, and that'll go live very soon. So a lot of it is left to the social media platforms. But again, as you very well mentioned, if you're going to figure out who the kids are, you got to figure out who the adults are as well. And that means that if they have no other provable way to show that you are above the age of 16 or 15, depending on the jurisdiction, they're going to have to ask for some kind of digital ID. And that becomes sort of a big door onto the internet. And really what we've seen in Australia so far is that they've been able to get around it using a VPN so they can say that they're in another country and open up an account or continue using it. Again, the technology will always find a way. And especially young people who know a lot about technology and know how to use it, they're going to be able to route around this incredibly quickly. I think we have to learn from what's happening here and understand that many of these laws, as they're written at the moment, just technically won't work.
Well, there have been a number of world leaders who are saying that this is exactly what the world needs to protect the younger generation from online harms. There are critics, however, that are saying that this probably isn't the smartest move and that if this ban wants to happen, it needs to be ironed out a little bit more. So, do you think that social media bans actually address the core concerns around youth mental health and online safety?
I don't think so at all. I think much of the social media fracas and discussing about ways that we can keep certain people off of the internet is just really not getting at the core issue. The core issue is that a lot of people are very anxious. A lot of people are figuring out how to deal with their digital devices and technology. Some people are better than others. I know principally amongst, elder people, there's a lot of them who are spending a lot of time on social media, who are sharing memes, from different types of pages where there's no type of truth verification. There are all types of different, I would say, illnesses that we have either in mental health or people who are thinking about societal issues. People generally have a problem with technology and how much it's part of our lives right now. And they view this as sort of a battering hammer to get rid of it, but it really doesn't. I think there's a lot of things that we could discuss when it comes to civic engagement, to community, into what young people are doing when it comes to sports and outings. I mean, we are coming back from COVID after all of these years where they were not allowed to meet with their friends or to have social clubs or interactions. And for many people, that's what the internet is. It's the ability to connect with people of like mind, of like age. And we have to understand that technology is actually a way to empower much of us to have that social connection rather than take it away. I think there's a lot of angst right now, generally, when it comes to the internet and the new future of what technology will be. But these bans are just not the way to address it.